All right, so today we're going to work in our social studies and science notebook. So if you could grab your social studies and science notebook, I'm going to go get the camera and we're going to do some work in there today. We're going to do at least one part from each section. All right, so the very beginning of our book says social studies. So let's turn. We should have all of those pages done already. We're going to be on page 18, and it says day 4. I know it says week 1. We don't do these every day because we aren't together, so try not to do too much to overwhelm everybody. All right, so let me read this to you, and then we're going to answer the questions at the end. So the questions we're going to be thinking about based on the text, what would you do if you lived in Illinois when it was American Indian land? And if you were Fox or Sock, would you have gone with Black Hawk and why? All right, so let's read this one. Long ago, Illinois, and it's spelled with an S at the end, but it's a French word. So we don't say the S at the end. It's not Illinois, it's Illinois. Long ago, Illinois was American Indian land. The American Indians farmed beans and corn. They hunted for meat. They mined for lead and used it to make things. White people wanted to live on the land. They wanted to farm and mine. The government made the American Indians move west. They had to move to the other side of the Mississippi River. In 1832, people from the Fox and Sauk tribes wanted to return to their land. Their leader was Black Hawk. The government did not want them to come back. It sent soldiers to push them west. Many of Black Hawk's people died. They were defeated. Those who were left were forced to move west. All right, so number 1, based on the text, what would you do if you lived in Illinois when it was American Indian land? Would you work in a meat factory? Would you farm and hunt? Would you work in a general store? Or would you work at a restaurant? So look back here. They farmed and hunted for meat. Okay, let's look here. Farm and hunt. So that is probably what you would do if you lived there back then. Number 12, if you were Fox or Sauk, if you were the Fox tribe or the Sauk tribe, would you have gone with Black Hawk and why? So Black Hawk was their leader, and he went back and said, we want this land back. And they sent in soldiers that killed a lot of people. And so they were defeated, and then they were forced to move west. What would you have done? Would you have gone with Black Hawk, or would you have kept moving west and not gone back? That's a hard one. I think for me, I would try to support Black Hawk because the land belonged to the Fox and Sauk tribes, but it would have been very scary. It would have been very scary for me. But I would think, it's not right that land belonged to my tribe and I should support my leader and try to help. But it would have been scary. I probably would have made my decisions based on how it was going, I guess, because I'd want to stay safe. What would you feel? You get to write your answer there. All right, we are going to go to the next page. Now, if you're writing what I have written there, you'll want to pause because we're moving on a little bit faster than that. All right. And we're going to do the last one in this weekly one so that next week we can start something else. All right, so this one is on page 19. Right, here's our little star, 19. All right, it says read the student's journal and answer the questions. All right, so question says, what did you learn about American Indian people? What do you think about our country's past? Okay. This week, we learned about American Indians. We learned about Tecumseh. He was a Shawnee leader. Remember we did Tecumseh the first time? He wanted to help his people keep their land. Then we learned about the Pueblo. The Spanish came and took their land. They treated the Pueblo very badly. We learned about the Trail of Tears. The Cherokee had to leave their land. They were forced to walk about 1,000 miles. And we learned about Black Hawk. He and his people tried to come back to their land, but they lost the war and many people died. They had to leave again. So what did you learn about the American Indian people? And what do you think about our country's past? You're going to write your own opinion here. All right? So I'm going to write my answer. I learned that many American Indian people tried hard to keep their land, but the American government and soldiers used. One sec here, guys. I've got someone coming to the front door. I'm going to have to pause here. Okay, sorry about that. Back at it. Here we are. All right. But the American government and soldiers used force and hurt the people. I think the American government could have been fair and not greedy. That's what I think. I think we should have paid those American Indians for their land, or we should have asked them if they would be willing to. I think we should have moved on somewhere else if they said no, and we should have shown respect because a lot of people came over to America to get away from what was going on and people forcing them to do things in Europe, and that's why they came here, to get away from that so that they could make choices and live a free life. Yet they didn't show that same respect to the American Indian people. So that's just my opinion. Now, some people may have a different opinion. Maybe they might think that America wouldn't have progressed to where it is, today if we hadn't expanded and done that. So I don't know. It's up to you what your opinion is. You get to write it because that is your choice. You are allowed to believe and make your own decisions and opinions based on the information you have. Okay? All right. That is it for our social studies. Not done with the book yet, though. We're going to scooch over here to geography. So go find geography, please. And we are on to page 15. Page 15 in our geography book. All right. It says parts of a map. The parts of the map include a title. There's your title. Parts of a map, and there's our title, Sandy Shores. It's the title of our map. It shows a map key down here. Here's a map key showing us this means lake, this means restaurant, this means gas station, this means shop, this means hotel. Okay, and a compass rose. This is a compass rose right here. Shows us the directions, north, south, east, and west. Let's read over here. This is the title. The title tells the name of the map, Sandy Shores. That might be where I might get to live. This is a compass rose. It shows directions on a map. This is a map key. It has symbols that stand for something on the map. Okay, so we can see all of these. There's a hotel called the Knights Inn. There's Joe's gas station. There's Lupe's Taco Shack. There's Shop for Less store. Here's Swan Lake and the beach. And here's Beach Road, 2nd Avenue, 1st Avenue, and Highway 68. All right. So turning the page for just a moment, it says, what is the title of the map? Remember, we just talked about that. What is the title of the map? Sandy Shores. Capital letters because it's a proper noun. Sandy Shores. Number 2, what is a map key? Okay, it tells us right here. A map key has symbols that stand for something on the map. Okay? A map key has symbols that stand for something on the map. There we go. All right. Go ahead and pause right now so that you can get that written down if you need to. So pause in 1, 2, 3, pause. All right, write the names of 3 symbols used in the map key. Okay, so we can choose from lake, restaurant, gas station, shop, or hotel. You can flip back and forth so you can spell it. You pick the ones you want to do. I'm going to pick the ones that I want to do. So I'm going to do let's see, what else am I going to pick? Okay. Name the symbol used for Lupe's Taco Shack. Okay, let's look over here. What was the symbol for Lupe's Taco Shack? It was a restaurant. That was the symbol for Lupe's Taco Shack. It was a restaurant. All right. Again, press pause so you can get all of this written down. Press pause in 1, 2, 3, pause. Okay. The next one says, what does a compass rose show? If we look right here, it shows directions on a map. And then which directions are shown on the compass rose? North, east, south, and west. North, and you can always flip back in your book to look and spell. East, south, and west. They need to be capitalized because those are proper nouns. They are the names of the directions. So north, south, North, east, south, and west. All right, go ahead and press pause if you need to keep writing. Okay, so press pause in 3, 1, 2, 3. That's going to count down. All right, so the next page. How many avenues are on this map and what are their names? How many avenues? Okay, we've got Beach Road, First Avenue, Second Avenue, and then a highway. So we have 2 of them. There are 2 avenues. Okay, First Avenue, and here's an abbreviation for avenue, and Second Avenue. There's your abbreviation. Do abbreviation, it still means avenue. All right, does Highway 68 run east and west or north and south? Okay, it runs this way. So looking at the compass rose, what goes this way? West and east. East and west. What is this one right here? Okay, go ahead and pause if you need to, because we're going to go on to Friday here in just a second. So if you need to pause it, pause in 1, 2, 3, pause. Friday. Is Knights Inn on the west or the east end of Beach Road? Let's go look here. Knights Inn is the name of this hotel. Is it on the west or the east end of Beach Road? It's over here, right? So looking at that, that's the west side. Okay. Number 2 says, which 2 businesses are east of 2nd Avenue? 2 businesses that are east of 2nd Avenue. So here's 2nd Avenue. This is the left, and that would be west. This is the east over here. So we have Shop for Less and Lupe's Taco Shack. All right. Shop for Less, capitalizing your words because those are proper nouns, and Lupe's Taco Shack. What would you call this small town? Write a new title for this map. Write the new title on the map. So instead of calling it Sandy Shores, what else could you call it? If you need to get this written down, go ahead and push pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. And then we're going to go back here. What would we call this instead? Sandy Shores. Could we call it Swan Lake, the name of the lake? Could we call it Lake City? You can decide what you want to call it, and you can write that right up here. And then if you'd like to color any of this, you can go ahead and color that in. But you'll have to do that after the video because we're going to go on to the next section. All right, if you're not finished, go ahead and finish up before you move to the next section. You can always push pause, and when you unpause, you're right with us. All right, we're on science. We've done those pages. All right. So day number 5 says, and we're on page 13 in our book here. Okay. It says here, check the box next to the word that completes each sentence. Okay. We've already done those other ones the other weeks, but we're going to go back and kind of culminate. kind of get it all put together. So colors and scents are examples of, let's go back and look it up. I'm going to get my book ready on the first one. Okay, colors and scents are examples of adaptations, it says here, different ones. So adaptation. Number 2, insects and birds carry blank to flowers. Look over here. On this page. Oh, here we go. They carry what? Pollen. Without blank, a plant couldn't reproduce. Nectar, pollen, flies, or hummingbirds. Let's go over here. Okay. I'm just reading through this real quick. Insects and birds eat pollen and drink nectar. Okay. Without, okay, so they get the pollen on there and then they can reproduce. All right. All right, so we're going to plug in these 3 words into the story here. We have pollen, adaptations, and survive. Different colors and scents are adaptations, that help plants attract animals. The animals carry pollen or survive. Pollen would make more sense, wouldn't it? The animals carry pollen from flower to flower, which helps the plants make seeds. Without seeds, the plants couldn't survive. All right, so let me read the story. Different colors and scents are adaptations that help plants attract animals. The animals carry pollen from flower to flower, which helps the plants make seeds. Without seeds, the plants couldn't survive. Why are flowers an important part of a plant? Explain what they do. Okay, so we know that flowers are important because what do they do? Because they attract birds and insects to them so they can transfer pollen from one plant to another. All right, I tried to write that quickly so you could start to copy it. All right, go ahead and pause right there if you need to. And that will be where we're going to end for today. We'll start on this one next week. For today, we'll get this one done. Also, I'm going to put in a mystery science into our mystery science folder. So if I go back here, folders, in our mystery science, I'm going to put another mystery science in there if you would like to do that. All right. All right, guys, have a great day, and thank you for working so hard.